Now, we have seen that, Sister Janet, as Paul is writing to the Ephesians, he appears to have had an encounter with them before. He speaks as someone who has known them beforehand. And if you may just take us the book of Acts chapter 18, verse 18 to 21. I'm reading from the New King James Version. It says, "So Paul still remained a good while. Then he took leave of the brethren and sailed for Syria, and Priscilla and Aquila were with him. He had his hair cut off as sanctuary, for he had taken a vow. And he came to Ephesus and left them there. But he himself entered the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they asked him to stay a longer time with them, he did not consent, but took leave of them, saying, I must by all means keep this coming feast in Jerusalem, but I will return again to you, God willing. And he sailed from Ephesus." What are some of the things that point out to you the manner of relationship that Paul had with Ephesians in this particular text?
From what I can take from that text is Paul was a frequent visitor. Mm-hmm. He had made friends. He had, when you make friends, they become like your family. And he had constant been there teaching them about the ways of Christ. Considering him coming from a point of view where he was persecuting the Christians, and now God converted him, he took the message to his heart to share to the Ephesians. And we see the Ephesians, they've always had challenges. That's why Paul, it's like he kept on going back to the Ephesians. And by this time, he did not go by himself again. It's like he took two other people whom he had already trained to go and keep on training the Ephesians in the ways of the Lord and help them to be able to be converted, to be able to change from the things they keep on backsliding to, going back to those false gods, to the magicians and all those things, and it seems like this vice was really attached to the Ephesus, that it was really hard for them to detach themselves. So they get out of it, then they still go back to it. So Paul really had the Ephesus in his heart, and he really wanted them to change and see Christ for who he is, because the minute they saw the privileges that Christ had, they will be able to live as an example and follow the footsteps of Christ.
Thanks. So we see you've really pointed out that Paul went to Ephesus, but he didn't go alone. He had people who accompanied him, and that just goes to show us that even when we are going for missions in those crazy and entered places, or places that are considered to be idolaters or have these other significant vices of our times, it is not good to go alone, however how much powerful we are. It's following Christ, as we are going with the three angels messages that we have learned in the previous quarter. It is good to have people with us who will be able to resonate with the messages that we send. Also, we see the longing, intention, and desire of Paul is that while he recognized that he needed to remain, he also took note of the fact that he had to go, which is a very difficult decision that an evangelist has to make, whether to continue in the comfort that you have created with those who are listening to your word, or to move forth in the fear of the Lord and go minister elsewhere. But I love he ends up by saying that, God willing, I will come to Ephesus. And coming to Ephesus, he did. Brother Raphael, there is a